How do you deal with football players involved in betting? The respective associations would carry out an investigation and then hand them a ban, right? Well, now it does not seem that straightforward anymore because players are coming out and claiming that they are addicted to betting and that they need to be treated. The latest to do so is Newcastle midfielder Sandro Tonali, who's under investigation for betting offences during his time at AC Milan. The midfielder's agent claims the player is battling gambling addiction. In the case of Ivan Toney too, he was diagnosed with gambling addiction. In fact, he received a reduced ban for two reasons. One is because he pleaded guilty, and the second is that psychiatrists submitted a report saying the player is a gambling addict. But this is not the first time that a football player has been caught for betting. So many players have faced bans for breaching betting rules, but the difference is that even a few years ago, the awareness about gambling was not as extensive as it is today. Take the case of Joey Barton, for example. The former Newcastle player was suspended for 18 months after breaching betting rules, and this eventually led to him ending his career early. After all these years, a few months ago, Barton came out and said that he provided the FA with a medical report about his gambling problem, but it was never considered when the ban was imposed on him. Now, the argument from the players is that this is a medical condition and it needs to be considered. Players are seeking reduced bans as a result of this, and here is where the argument begins. In the case of Ivan Toney, the ban was reduced majorly because the player apparently showed remorse for his actions. But before Toney, there isn't enough to suggest that a player's ban for betting breach was reduced because of a valid medical report suggesting the player is an addict. So this raises the question, how should authorities react? While one side of the argument is that players should be dealt with in a softer manner considering addiction is a medical problem, another argument could be that players found using drugs are given strong bans irrespective of whether they are addicts or not. How is gambling addiction any different? There is no denying that gambling addiction is a real problem that needs to be treated, but the question is it fair to expect softer treatment in your profession when you are clearly aware that gambling on your own sport when you are a professional is a serious offence? On one hand, it is good that players are attempting to come out in the open about their addiction. This surely gives them the leverage to work on themselves and not be judged for it. But on the other hand, the argument remains, should they be afforded softer treatment as a result? Let us know your opinion on this argument.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.